Assalamualaikum and hi. So today we want to share to all of you about a Muslim scholar named Al-Qabisi. Al-Qabisi is one of the scholars born in Qayrawan. He became known as Al-Qabisi, referred to by the nisbah of his village as Al-Mu'afiri Al-Qabisi, or even known as Al-Qayrawani, since he was born, brought up, studied, and became a teacher in Qayrawan. Qayrawan is the capital of the Qayrawan Governorate in Tunisia. The city was founded by the Umayyads around 670. Qayrawan lies south of Sousse, 50 km from the east coast, 75 km from Monastir, and 184 km from Tunis. The foundation of Qayrawan dates to about the year 670, when the Arab general Uqba ibn Nafi of Caliph Muawiyah selected a site in the middle of a dense forest, then infested with wild beasts and reptiles, as the location of a military post for the conquest of the West. In the period of Caliph Muawiyah, it became an important center for Sunni Islamic scholarship and Quranic learning, and thus attracting many Muslims from various parts of the world, next only to Mecca and Medina. In 800, Caliph Harun al-Rashid in Baghdad confirmed Ibrahim as emir and hereditary ruler of Ifriqiya. Ibrahim ibn al-Aghlab founded the Aghlabid dynasty, which ruled Ifriqiya between 800 and 909. The new emirs embellished Qayrawan and made it their capital. It became a powerful trading hub and center of Islamic scholarship in the 9th century, when Aghlabid emirs ruled Qayrawan and built many of its monuments. The Aghlabids built the Great Mosque and established in it a university that was a center of education both in Islamic law and in the scholar science. The city of Qayrawan has become a special place in the hearts of local Muslims. They consider Qayrawan as a holy city that cannot be entered except by Muslims. But when Qayrawan was taken by the French, after which non-Muslims were allowed to enter the city. The famous Qayrawan Muslim scholars other than Al-Qabisi include Imam Sahnun bin Said, who was Imam Malik's student. He is the author of the book Al-Mudawwana, who played a major role in the codifying the Maliki school. Imam Abu Zaid al-Qayrawani and Yahya bin Salamah al-Basri. Qayrawan has become a famous object in Tunisia. The Great Mosque built by Uqba bin Nafi in conjunction with the establishment of the city of Qayrawan is a famous tourist attraction throughout history, besides being the oldest mosque in the Maghreb Arabian.
Biography Al-Qabisi. Al-Qabisi's full name is Abu al-Hasan Ali ibn Muhammad ibn Qabisi Khalaf al-Mu'afiri al-Qayrawani. Al-Qabisi is known as one of ulama, which is the expert or scholar of Islam, related to hadith, excellent educator, and a very loyal follower of Maliki. He was born in the 4th century on 324 Hijrah, equivalent to 913 Masihi, and died in 420 Hijrah, equivalent to 109 Masihi. Ibn al-Khalikan pointed out that Qabisi revealed from a name of town in Qayrawan, Northern Africa, namely Qabis city, in which closer with Mahdiyah district. Most of experts agree that Al-Qabisi was known as one of Islamic scholars who dedicated his life in Qayrawan. Upbringing of Al-Qabisi. During his childhood and adolescence, Al-Qabisi studied in the city of Qayrawan. He began to study the Quran, Hadith, Fiqh, Arabic, and Qira'at from some of the famous scholars of his city. Among the great scholars who influenced him was Abu al-Abbas al-Ibyani, who was very influential in the fiqh of the Maliki. He also sought knowledge from scholars such as Abu al-Abbas al-Ibyani, Abu al-Hasan bin Masrur al-Dabbag, Abu Abdullah bin Mas'ud al-Asal, Abu Muhammad bin Madrun al-Hajjaj, Taras bin Ismail al-Fasi, and al-Sadri. Al-Qabisi once visited the eastern region of Islam and spent 5 years in 353 Hijrah to return to Kairawan in 357 Hijrah to perform Hajj and the same time to seek knowledge. In Alexandria, he once studied with Ali bin Zaid al-Iskandari, a scholar who was famous for narrating the hadiths of Imam Malik and delving into his school of fiqh. In Mecca, he studied the book of Al-Bukhari under the guidance of Abu Zaid. The education of Al-Qabisi. Al-Qabisi is well known for his extensive knowledge in the field of hadith and fiqh as well as Arabic literature. He became a reference for the Ummah and was required to answer the problems of Islamic law, so he was appointed Mufti in his stead. One of his works in the field of Islamic education that is very monumental is the book Ahlal al-Muta'allimin wa Ahkam al-Mu'allimin wa al-Muta'allimin, as a famous book in the 4th century and beyond. Al-Qabisi is very famous for his humble nature, pious, and does not like flattery. A number of fatwas issued by Al-Qabisi have been largely followed by the people of Egypt and Tunisia. One of the glories he gained from his journey to the east was that Al-Qabisi was the first person to bring the book of Sahih Bukhari to North Africa. The students of Al-Qabisi who learned from him in the field of fiqh among them were Abu Imran al-Fasi and Abu al-Qasim al-Labibi. Among the students who studied the field of hadith were Abu Bakr Atiq al-Sawsi, Abu al-Qasim al-Hassari, and Abu Abdullah al-Maliki.
The contribution of Al-Qabisi. In general, Al-Qabisi was a Muslim scholar who have contributed to the development of educational field. He also excelled in various types of knowledge such as hadith, fiqh, theology, and education, and authored a number of books. Al-Qabisi also became a teacher and references to other scholars include the Western scholar. In our research, we are focusing on the Al-Qabisi's famous contribution as based on his famous book called Ar-Risalah Al-Mufassalah li Ahwal Al-Muta'allimin wa Ahkam Al-Mu'allimin wal-Muta'allimin that include Al-Qabisi view on children Islamic education, the application of Al-Kutab education, the purpose of education, the education curriculum, and lastly, the methodology, principle, and techniques of teaching and learning. Al-Qabisi's view on children Islamic education. First of all, Al-Qabisi are very concerned about the education of children as an important element to shape the formation of the country and nation, which should be implemented with full of intensity and perseverance. There are two important roles in children Islamic education. First, the role of parent, and the second, the role of the teacher. Firstly, the parents who have the ability to educate their children should educate themselves before sending their children to the pious person or the teacher and hire them if the parents are not able to provide the education and give knowledge to their children. According to Al-Qabisi, parental awareness about the obligation to educate the children is an initial process to improve the quality of the Ummah. The second one is the role of the teachers. The teachers are not only master in the various of teaching materials and the methodology of pedagogy and conveying the knowledge to the children, but also need to be decorated themselves with noble character, good behavior with good morals, fear of God, always purifying the hearts and intention, respecting the poor, performing acts of ibadah, and always be patient in facing the test from Allah. The education conducted by Al-Qabisi is the basic level of education that based on the Al-Kutab educational institution system. Since the education system of Al-Kutab exposure to the teaching of the Quran, Al-Qabisi sees that the teaching the Quran to the children is considered as a very important knowledge. Moreover, Al-Qabisi puts more focus on democratic educational system in his method, and he did not set and provide the limitation of the time to the family who wanted to send their children for learning in the Kutab. In the Kutab, the children will learn various types of knowledge such as the Quran, Kitabah, Arabic literature, mathematics, and traditional prose, as well as the local stories from Arabs. Al-Qabisi has established the most dominant knowledge to be produced by the student, such as Al-Quran knowledge, which begin with memorization and repetition as the requirement in understanding the Al-Quran.
The purpose of education by Al-Qabisi. The purpose of children's education for Al-Qabisi is to know and practice religion. Regarding his attitude of adhering to religion with a specialization in the field of fiqh based on the Quran and Sunnah, Al-Qabisi wants education and teaching to develop the child's personality with true Islamic values. In addition, Ali Al-Jumbulati said that the general purpose of education held by Al-Qabisi is to develop the moral traits of children, cultivate a love of religion, adhere to its teachings, and behave with pure religious values. From the description, it is clear that the purpose of Islamic education designed by Al-Qabisi is religious and normative to produce a Muslim who can master various knowledge about Islam and also practice it well. The education curriculum. Al-Qabisi classified children's education curriculum into two methods. First, compulsory curriculum. In this curriculum, there are some basic subjects that must be learned by children as a base for forward subjects. Second, selected curriculum. It is a number of subjects consists of science and technology to support the compulsory curriculum. The first one, Ijbari curriculum, which is compulsory. About the Ijbari curriculum, there is couple subjects classified as compulsory subjects that must be learned by the children, which is Al-Quran, fiqh, moral, Arabic language, writing and reading. Second one, Ikhtiyari curriculum, which is optional. About Ikhtiyari curriculum, the core objective of the selected curriculum is to support and strengthen the compulsory curriculum through a number of subjects that are included in selected curriculum, such as arithmetic, poetry, history, which is including stories of Arabic country, Nahu Sarah, and pure Arabic language. In short, this curriculum may be learned by the children themselves or taught by the teacher initiative. In other words, there is no suggestion and no restriction for whom want to study.
The contribution of Al-Qabisi as a founder of children Islamic education comes with his own methodology, techniques and principle of teaching and learning. The methodology that Al-Qabisi used in his education is based on the method of memorizing, exercise and demonstration. Moreover, he prohibited of mixing male and female students in learning session in one class, or as we known as co-educational classes. Next, he applied the democracy in education and the implementation of punishment as the final steps of education. The works of Al-Qabisi. Al-Qabisi was a productive scholar in writing the books. He produced 15 works in the field of fiqh and hadith, in which many of the works he left in various disciplines of knowledge as a treasure for Muslim intellectuals. As according to Qadi Iyad, Ibn Farhun and Abdul Rahman, the books written by Al-Qabisi are the books of Al-Muhid, Al-Fiqh wal-Ahkam ad-Diyana, Al-Muba'id min Shibhi at-Ta'wil, Al-Munabbih li al-Fitan an Ghawa'il Fitan, الرسالة المفصلة لأحوال المتعلمين وأحكام المعلمين والمتعلمين، الاعتقاد، مناسك الحج، ملخص للموطأ، الرسالة النصرية في الرد على بخارية، الذكر والدعاء، and أهمية الحصن. Al-Qabisi was a very famous scholar with his famous book of الرسالة المفصلة لأحوال المتعلمين وأحكام المعلمين والمتعلمين. According to Al-Ahwani, المفصلة لأحوال المتعلمين أحكام المعلمين والمتعلمين is among his famous scripture. This book describes about the concept of children's education, educational goals, assessment practice, praise, fines, teaching methods, techniques, and discussion about philosophy in Islamic education. This book has 3 chapters and consists of 80 pages. This book being a references to the scholar and the thinker in education to the next generation, which are being popularized by Western scholar in the middle of the 19th century and useful until now. And the first Orientalist who introduced this book in the West was Dr. Enwani. Al-Qabisi became a teacher and a place of reference, which is many books and his work scattered throughout the world, including in Indonesia, where his thought has been widely adapted and reinterpreted according based on the current need. The idea of Al-Qabisi also has a point of equality that legitimizes the idea of Islamization of science brought by various Muslim scholars. Al-Qabisi is not only an educational figure, in fact he is also a faqih, theologian, mutakallim, and hadith scholar, muhaddisin, who were famous in his time, who famous with his critical thoughts of his intellectual that give contribution in various fields of knowledge to the Islamic community.
In conclusion, his thinking in education was greatly influenced by his attitude and stance as ulama Ahli Sunnah wal Al-Jama'ah, which every effort and thought on the teachings based on Al-Quran and Al-Hadith. His attention to the importance of teaching the Quran, writing, understanding, and memorizing to students describe the importance of Islamic religious education.
Al-Qabisi was the first person to bring the book of Sahih Bukhari to North Africa. We can see that Al-Qabisi was an ambitious person in field of hadith, and most of Al-Qabisi observers and analysts agree that he was a great hadith scholar and educator.
The core curriculum of Al-Qabisi is the integrity of moral change for children, building a sense of love of religion, keep following to his Prophet Muhammad ﷺ teachings and behave in accordance with the values of a religion.
The idea from Al-Qabisi about education is guided by the basics of Islam. It relates to the main principles and the basis of the organization education. Therefore, every basic education must be easy to practice in current and future educational institutions.
That's all from us about the story of the Muslim scholar called Al-Qabisi.